Hey, so finally the iPhone SE2 has been announced. After all these years, people were waiting for a follow-up to the original iPhone SE, which was really popular among people who wanted a smaller form factor at a slightly lower price. And in this video, I'll be talking about all the things you need to know about the new iPhone SE2 and answering the question of who this phone is for, what's the target demographic, and how the pricing and stuff works. So let's jump right in. I'm putting a bit of Apex Legends for you guys to watch while I talk. So I hope you enjoyed that as well. Also, don't forget to hit that like button. Just go ahead and smash that like button and check out my channel. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. All right, let's jump right in. Alright, so firstly, let's discuss the elephant in the room, the main point, which is the selling price of the iPhone SE2. Obviously, when you look at these prices, which is $399 for the 64 gig model, $449 for the 128 gig model, and $549 for the 256 gig model, when you look at these prices, you can obviously tell that this phone is a budget smartphone. It's the first time that Apple has done a truly budget smartphone. The original iPhone SE in 2016 was somewhat of a budget smartphone, but the base price was around $500 or $400. I can't really remember, but it wasn't as cheap as this. But this is a true budget smartphone from Apple, and its competitors would include phones like the Google Pixel 3a and the Nokia 6.1, all phones within the $300 to $500 range, usually $300 to $400 range. So it's kind of obvious that this is a budget smartphone. It's available in three colors, which is product red, white, and black. And when you take a closer look at it, you can tell that it's really similar to the iPhone 8. And that's actually what it is. It is an iPhone 8, except it's a bit cheaper and a little better. Well, not a little better, a bit more than a little. But it's cheaper and it's better. So let's compare. So the iPhone 8 was released around 2017 September, as I remember, and the moment they announced the iPhone SE, Apple took the iPhone 8 off their website, so it's no longer for sale from Apple. So that's it for the iPhone 8. Let's talk about the differences first, the main differences, and then the rest of it could all be the similarities, which I don't really have to get into. So the iPhone SE2 versus the iPhone 8, what are the main differences? There's one major difference that'll be a really good selling point for the iPhone SE2 in time to come, and that's processor. The iPhone 8 had an A11 Bionic, that's a 10 nanometer processor, the same processor that was in the iPhone 10. A good processor, mind you, really good, and still performs really good today. But the iPhone SE2 has the same processor that's on the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, which is the Apple A13 Bionic. The A13 is a 7 nanometer processor, which powers currently the latest three flagship phones from Apple, the iPhone 11, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max. So you're basically getting a processor that's on a $700 plus phone, a flagship phone, for only $399, a base price of $399. So that's a big thing. Apple is able to offer such a powerful processor at only $399. The iPhone SE2 will probably also have 2 gigs of RAM, like the iPhone 8. This is not confirmed yet, as Apple has not listed any information regarding RAM on their website, so that's up to speculation for now. But we'll know in time to come when people buy it and run Geekbench and stuff on it. But it'll be around 2 gigs of RAM. So moving on to the next point. So this might be even more appealing than the processor for people who don't really care about processing power. And what I'm talking about is the camera on the iPhone SE2. Now the iPhone 8 has a great camera, even in 2020. And the iPhone 11 has an even better camera. I use an iPhone 11 even now. And here are some pictures from the iPhone 11. So you'll be like, why am I showing you pictures from the iPhone 11? We're talking about the iPhone SE2 here. Because there's a chance that the iPhone SE2 might have the exact same main camera from the iPhone 11. Let that just sink in. A $700 plus flagship camera for only $399. And if that's true, that'll be just the biggest selling point of the iPhone SE2. Now, you can see these pictures on screen. These are from my iPhone 11. These are really good pictures. Imagine this kind of picture quality for only $399. Now, the iPhone SE2's arch rival, probably for some time, will be the Google Pixel 3a. Now, the Pixel 3a has a better display than the iPhone SE2. That's kind of obvious. But then there are some people that really don't care about displays. The iPhone SE2 has another main feature that at this price range is pretty hard to find. It has wireless charging. It has QI certified wireless charging, just like the iPhone 8. Now the Pixel 3a does not have wireless charging. Sure, it has a better display, and the camera quality is still up for debate because no one has tested them yet. But on paper, the SE2 has certain things that the Google Pixel 3a doesn't, like wireless charging, which is a big deal today if you think about it. And that's a huge point. There are a lot of people that go for wireless charging over certain other specs, and that may be one of the main contributing factors for people choosing the iPhone SE2 over the Google Pixel 3a or the Nokia 6.1, etc., etc. So for the rest of the similar specifications to the iPhone 8, you get the same design, same aluminum frame, glass front, IP67 water resistance for 1 meter up to 30 minutes. You got Apple Pay with MasterCard, Visa, and all of that. The same display, which is an IPS LCD capacitive touchscreen of 4.7 inches with the same 750 by 1334 resolution, which has a pixel density of around 327 or 326, as I remember. It also it's shipping with iOS 13, so it's not going to start with iOS 11 like the iPhone 8, so it's shipping with the latest Apple operating system as of now. The rest of the specifications include an identical front camera, f2.2 7 megapixel shooter with 1080p at 30 frames per second. So the front camera from the iPhone 11 is not transferring over. It's just the back camera that may transfer over. So the front camera is not going to be able to record in 4K. So we're stuck with 1080p 30 frames per second. It'll also have obviously stereo speakers. And of course, the fingerprint scanner front mounted. And again, it's not going to be an actual button. It's going to be a Force Touch or 3D Touch button with the fingerprint scanner. I hope they increase the speed on the fingerprint scanner. But the iPhone 8's fingerprint scanner is already pretty fast on its own. And I also almost forgot one slight advantage the iPhone SE has over the iPhone 8. It is that it has 18 watts fast charging instead of the 15 watts which is on the iPhone 8. So 18 watts fast charging, that'll give it about 50% in around 30 minutes, as I remember. This also applies to the wireless charging if you have the appropriate charging apparatus. Obviously, it's not going to ship with those things. You'll have to get them separately or get the Apple Fast Charger separately. Apart from that, everything else is exactly the same as the iPhone 8, but then again, in terms of when you look closer, the camera, the processor, wireless charging, etc., it's a bit better. It may be even way better if the camera thing actually transfers over. So when you closely look at it in terms of design, the Apple logo at the back has been dropped down like the iPhone 11. And apart from that, there's no distinctive feature that can differentiate it from the iPhone 8. So in terms of looks, it's basically almost the same. So now let's answer the burning question. Should you upgrade? Now, in a few months' time, we're going to see the iPhone 12, which is rumored to come in 4 flavors, being the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Plus, the iPhone 12 Pro, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So 4 phones to choose from, and the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Plus will be on the lower end and will be around $600 to $700. So should you upgrade to the iPhone SE2? Obviously, there are going to be people who are going to stick in the budget market, and this is it's a huge thing for them because there are certain people out there who don't want to spend big money on flagship phones. It's just not what they need. It's just not something they want to spend money on. And if you go on Apple's website, you can see Apple has set up an entire page dedicated to comparing the new iPhone SE2 with Apple's older flagship phones. These notice that the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, they're not on this list, and that's because obviously you can't compare the SE2 to those. But if you have these phones that are listed here, Apple has created individual pages underneath, if you scroll down, comparing them to the iPhone SE2. Now, if you compare the iPhone 6 to the SE2, obviously the SE2 crushes. But if you compare the iPhone 8, there are just small differences. And obviously the differences that I mentioned earlier are going to come into play, and they're not listed down here because Apple hasn't confirmed that the camera from the iPhone 11 is going to be on here. But Apple has set up an entire page, so you can go and check that out. It's on Apple's website. I'll link it down in the description as well. So if you have one of these phones, Apple gives you reasons to upgrade to the iPhone SE2. But let me give you my thoughts on this. If you own an iPhone 8, it's kind of pointless upgrading because the specs aren't that different. Sure, the camera might be better and the processor is better, but the iPhone 8 is still more than usable. And you may just want to go straight for the iPhone 12. But if you're an iPhone 6 to iPhone 7 user and you don't want to spend the premium that's coming up in December, or was it September for the iPhone 12, then you should go right ahead. This is a really good phone. It's the first time Apple has done this at a really low price like this. And I feel that this iPhone SE2 is a major bang for your buck at only $399. That's the price range. The 64 gig one is obviously the version that everyone else is going to be buying. Most of the people will buy that. So if you're coming from an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 7, this is something to decide on. It's something that you should consider. Because obviously the iPhone 6 is completely out of date now, and going upwards from there, the iPhone 7 still usable. I recently did a video of using the iPhone 7 in 2020. You can go check that out in the card above. The iPhone 7 is still usable, but it's kind of getting there. It's kind of slowly being pushed back, and iOS 14 is probably going to be the last operating system for the iPhone 7. Probably, I'm not sure, but let's say you don't want to upgrade, but that's fine. But let's say you're from an iPhone 6S and below, including the original iPhone SE, by the way, because the original iPhone SE was a 6S, was 6S internals inside a 5S body. So if you're coming from a phone below the iPhone 6S, this is something you should consider. But then again, personal reasons, you may have different reasons, personal reasons for that, and you may just want to wait for the iPhone 12. But if you're in the budget market, go for it. It's a great phone, the specs are great, and I'm really surprised that Apple can offer it at such a low price. So, sticking with the budget theme here, there's another point that I want to discuss that the iPhone SE2 has brought upon. That is what it means for used iPhones, basically the used market. So now, since the iPhone SE2 is only at $399, used iPhone 7s and iPhone 8s can't sell for like $250, $300, because that was the going price for a used iPhone 8, $250 to $300 for the 64 gig model. So people can't sell used iPhone 8s at $250 to $300, because for an extra $50 to $100 you can get a brand new iPhone SE2 that has slightly better specifications. So if you're in the market for a used iPhone 7, 8, I wouldn't recommend a 6S at this point, but if you're in the market for used iPhone 7 or 8, this is something that you should note down, because the iPhone 7s may drop in excess of $50 to $100, and the iPhone 8s may drop quite significantly as well. Maybe the base used price for a decent condition iPhone 8 may drop to around $150 to $200, while iPhone 7s might even drop below $150 to $100. So this means a lot for the used market. So for people who also can't afford a brand new iPhone SE2, the iPhone SE2 still helped you by pushing the used market way down and bringing it into the really super ultra budget market, which is like $100 to $200. So phones in that range are, well, obviously not that great. But you could get a once flagship phone like the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 for around $100 to $250 thanks to the iPhone SE2. So finally, that's all I have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it helped you with your purchasing decision. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, extra questions that you want answered. I'll be happy to reply. By the way, this is my first kind of voiceover sort of video. I don't know what you call these, discussion videos. I've done one of these a few years back, but it wasn't that great. But this is with me using my new mic. So I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments if you want to see more things like this, more discussions, tech-related discussions, and so on. And let me know down in the comment section if you're going to be buying the new iPhone SE2 or you're going to stick with your older iPhone till the iPhone 12. But I'm really happy that now everyone who doesn't want to spend the premium price can now afford an iPhone with that shiny Apple logo at the back and can experience iOS at a low price. So let me know down in the comments if you're getting the iPhone SE2 or if you're staying till the iPhone 12. And yeah, so don't forget to hit that like button and check out my channel. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.